Once again, we're at the bottom of Spurling Road and we're going to be heading south on the A10 today. So, the way to do this, to get to the high road to go south, is the route I'm about to take you here on foot, which we can't take in our cars anymore because of these silly signs here. Signs that nobody wanted, signs that over 50% of residents in Area A at consultation said they didn't want, but Haringey Council put them up anyway. So, all I'm doing is walking along what's called Moorfield Road. I wouldn't actually have previously been able to drive along here before the school street. I'd have had to drive along Clacton Road, which just runs parallel to what I'm doing here. Just, 30 odd houses up, maybe 40 at the most. But even with the school street, now that they've turned Moorfield Road into two-way, the correct route would be to come out of Spurling, as we just did, and then come to the junction here with St Loy's, and then down to the high road there. That's the high road at the bottom. You can see where William Hill is in the distance. That's on the high road. So you'd simply just come down here and turn right onto the high road. So even on foot and with me talking away, that's been 30 seconds that it's taken to walk round. So you get the idea. That's the correct route. Well, as I say, we can't go the way we're meant to go, so we're now going to go the way we have to go. So the time is 12:20. Marvellous. Right, so remember, it took us 30 seconds on foot to walk round the corner to the bottom of Moorfield Road. So we'll see how long it takes us to get there in the car on the new route mandated by the LTN. So we're now going up Spurling Road. That's the van working out whether he's allowed to come down through the school street, and of course he is, because it's not school street hours. And we're turning right onto Woodside Gardens. It all looks lovely and quiet, doesn't it? But don't be fooled, because as we come to the end of Moorfield Road, we hit the reality of the madness. The madness that is stopping roads being used as roads. The madness that is turning every journey into an opportunity for illicit profit. So now my car's going to get sprayed with white paint. Lovely. So that'll be a bill into Veolia for that. And this is pretty good today. This is pretty good, because Bruce Grove, as I said in yesterday's footage, has become one of the best used car parks in Tottenham in the last few months. This is not too bad. And I'm going to caveat this again with there being roadworks on the high road. My point is that there will always be roadworks. There will always be a broken down bus. There will always, sadly, be an accident. There will always be something preventing traffic from flowing. That's just reality. Always has been. The point of having an integrated road network is that there are alternative routes upon which people can travel in order to ease that congestion. That's what roads are for. And a well-organised, well-designed integrated road network, such as we had in Area A for a very, very long time, which was a brilliantly designed system that not only managed to regulate traffic speed and flow, but also understood how residents used the roads, what journeys they took. It was absolutely brilliant. That's all been closed off. You can't drive through any roads. Everything's been forced onto these sacrificial boundary roads. Now these are also residential roads. There are people living in flats, and they are now exposed to huge amounts of pollution, a constant traffic jam. And whilst you may say, well, why are you complaining? Your road, Sperling Road, was really quiet. Whilst that may be true, except for when people are turning round constantly outside the house because they can't drive through at all, the fact is that in a car you are trapped. I would have been fine if I was travelling north today, but I don't always travel north. Sometimes I travel south, and I'm often, even if I'm coming, obviously if I'm coming back from the north, I am travelling south down Bruce Grove to get to the avenue, which is the route that I have to take. So we're just going to enjoy our little Haringey Council enforced bit of traffic jam. We've already had 5 minutes of this journey. 5 minutes of this journey. Sitting here, increasing emissions. An idling engine is worse than a flowing engine. Being part of congestion, people trying to get to work, people trying to go and, I don't know, take children to after school clubs, obviously not at this time. People trying to visit relatives, someone who's sick, someone who's housebound, people just trying to get on with their daily lives. And had this been the situation when I bought my home back in 2009, there is no way I would have bought a house in Tottenham, because I don't have decent access to it. So I feel that there's almost been a breach of contract, and that I've been conned out of something that I had by Haringey Council. Now, seeing as we've got the time, let's address the idea of public representation at meetings. You see, the people who are supporting this absolute madness with their anti-car, anti-motorist rhetoric are small, radicalised pressure groups such as the London Cycling Campaign and the even more insidious so-called Living Streets. Now, if you are Living Streets, you get invited to Haringey Council meetings so that you can tell the Haringey Council just how brilliant they are. If you are a member of the public, if you are a tax-paying Haringey resident, you are not allowed into a Haringey Council meeting. The council positions security guards and barriers outside their meeting. If you wish to gain entry to that meeting, you have to apply for permission in advance. And yet, council meetings are public meetings. There are some very specific situations under which it is permissible not to allow the public into such public meetings. Generally, if very sensitive information is going to be discussed. But the whole point of public accountability is that council meetings are open and available to the public, unless you live in the London Borough of Haringey, and unless you are one of the victims of the Tottenham LTNs imposed upon you by Haringey Council, who think that having all this traffic, all this idling, all these problems is good for the environment. The public aren't allowed into that. So here we are, just coming up to the junction that I showed you at the beginning of this video. Here on the right, that was Moorfield Road. So I would have come out, I would have turned right just there and been on the road here. 30 seconds on foot, 8 minutes in the car. How ridiculous. How undemocratic. How insane. Thank you very much, Haringey Council. So here we are, right by the old Tottenham Chances building, and it's Thursday the 22nd of June. There's roadworks on the high road. The roadworks, of course, have temporary traffic lights, which makes things busier and slower. But we're heading to Spurling Road. And when we get to St Loy's Road, we won't be able to go to St Loy's Road and onto Spurling Road because of the LTN. We're going to have to go all the way around. So, we'll check in with you again when we're a bit closer. Well, we're just coming up now to the St Loy's junction, which you can see just beyond the buses here. And before the LTN was installed, we would turn left there, we would turn right into Moorfield Road, and then just by turning left into Spurling Road, be at the bottom of Spurling Road, which is where we're trying to get to. There is a route that I could have taken that would have gone all the way around the backs, all the way to Lansdowne Road, and then back along Lansdowne Road, up Lordship Lane, and then back down Bruce Grove. But every extra mile driven is a bit more fuel used. Every extra mile driven is a tiny bit more emission. And so this is why the LTN climate change argument does not hold water. You're forcing people into longer routes. You're forcing people to idle in traffic. You're causing worse pollution. And all these poor people living in their flats on the high road here, and this is what they're living with all the time. This is the middle of the day, it's not rush hour. This is appalling, isn't it, Haringey Council? And you know it. And so now turning onto Bruce Grove, finally, we've almost made it. We've almost made it round the circuit. Pity the poor people on this side of the road who are just beginning their LTN nightmare onto the high road, sitting in the solid traffic of Bruce Grove, Tottenham's greatest car park, all the way up here, to turn left into the avenue. Here we go. All the way along the avenue, completely unnecessarily. Just think how much money everyone will be able to make if Sadiq Khan gets away with bringing in his road user charging policy, charging people for every mile that they drive, in league with his local authorities, with the likes of Haringey Council, putting miles and miles onto every journey unnecessarily. Oh, anyone would think that they thought it through and found a way to stitch up the motorist. And here we are on to Sperling Road finally. Almost there. Almost there. Who'd have thought it was such a distance? Through the School Street barrier. Not sure why we have that, because no one can get here anyway. And here we are, back at our original destination. And the time is 3:34. Oh, get this. Here's a Veolia van that's just come straight through. Wow. So they're allowed through, are they? But the people who live here aren't. Wow. That's a Haringey Veolia van. KY68AVM. Fantastic. Well, it's one rule for them and one rule for the rest of us, isn't it? Hope you got that. Hope you got that one. That was a beautiful bit of nepotism there. Thanks, Haringey Council. We love you.